Shana, hey, and welcome to part 2 of my commission pet peeves. This video ended up being a bit late because I managed to have a really bad fall and I sprained my foot very badly in the beginning of May. And it's still giving me some trouble, but I had a couple of weeks where I just straight up could not sit comfortably at all, so art was just a no-go for me. I know I posted a video before this one, but I didn't properly explain what happened there and why I stopped posting for much longer than intended, so I figured this was a good time to do so. Also, I apologize if you can hear any outside noises in the background. I live in a town and I need to have my window open or else it gets very warm very fast. Hopefully my mic doesn't pick it up too much, but I might as well mention it just in case. But now when that is fully covered, without boring you all too much with the details, let's just move on to more things that bother me, shall we? If you haven't seen the last video where I talked about people being angry about prices and not understanding artists' limits, feel free to check that out as well if you enjoyed this one. In this video, I also have two things in particular that I really want to talk about, so let's just get right into that. First off, I want to talk about when people cancel their commissions. But let me clarify a few things before I go any further. If you're commissioning me and you're upfront with me and you come to me and tell me that you have to cancel mid-transaction because of an emergency or something like that, I understand completely and I will not throw a fit. Things happen, and if you suddenly need the money for an emergency, I completely understand. It's okay. I will absolutely refund you if you have paid me, or if it's before the sketch has been done or before you've paid me, I will just straight up cancel it. It's okay. I'm not talking about that, so please don't feel like I'm targeting you, or don't feel bad if you've ever had to cancel a commission for something like that. You're good. Don't worry about it. I still won't give you the art if you cancel, but I will also not be mad at you. It's fine. You're good. Don't worry about it. The issue that I do, however, have with people canceling is those who do it in the worst ways possible. All of these things have happened to me, and I'm going to explain why this is not a good way to treat artists, so hopefully less people will do this. First off, we have people who cancel by ghosting. This was my first bad commission experience, actually. I was doing a commission for somebody in a furry group on Facebook. He asked me for a badge of his persona. And if you don't know what a badge is, the term is actually quite broad, as some do get very, very elaborate. But for the most basic of the basic explanation, it's a picture of your persona, typically a headshot, with your persona's name on it, that you print out and laminate and wear at a convention for identification. So, the picture this guy wanted wasn't all that hard to get done, whatsoever, so I was fine with taking it on for him. I sent him countless work in progresses because he wanted change upon change where he felt like I hadn't made it look quite like his persona. I lost count how many times he had me redraw his ears, for an example. But he was super responsive throughout this entire sketching process. Then came the time when I asked for payment. I shot him a message and asked if he was ready to send me the payment so I could finish it. I got no response to that. I waited a few days before I sent him a simple hello, just to make sure that he hadn't just missed my message or something. 3 days later, I get a response that said, "Hi, sorry, something came up, can't pay right now. Can I pay you next Monday when I get paid?" I accepted that as I realized that sometimes things do come up, and I waited patiently. Next Monday came and went, and nothing! I shot him another message. Surprise, surprise! Nothing! So, since I understand that things can possibly come up because I knew that this guy had kids and a family that he needed to take care of first and foremost, and couldn't be in front of his phone at all times, I just waited a few days to see if he would come back and respond on his own accord. He didn't, so I sent him another message a few days later, and he didn't respond to that either. I saw him being active on Facebook Messenger, I saw him posting in the group where we met, but he straight up would not respond to any of my messages, or even read the ones that I sent to him. 2 months later, he got back to me and said that he had to cancel and wouldn't be able to pay for the commission ever. I told him he should have just said something instead of refusing to respond for months, which he sort of just shrugged off, and then moved the conversation on to asking if I would be down to go on a cruise with a bunch of other furries. Like a weekend fursuiting cruise. How he would be able to afford that but not a $25 commission is completely beyond me. I don't know if that cruise happened or not because I declined. Being stuck on a boat with a bunch of people I'd never met sounded horrifying, and I decided not to question that any further. I attempted to sell the sketch as a your character here, but I didn't get anywhere with that, so a bunch of lost time. So, why is ghosting your artist a bad thing? It should be a no-brainer, honestly, but the amount of times I've heard this happen to other people, not just myself, clearly tells me that it's not. But when you ghost your artist instead of being upfront with them, you're holding up a spot in their queue, and you're wasting their time by having them sit and wait for you to potentially get back to them when they could have sold off your work in progress as your character here to somebody else, or worked on someone else's art instead of sitting and waiting for your response that you were never intending to give them. Just be upfront. If something happens and you can't pay anymore, just tell the artist that. Trust me, they will be way more understanding if you're just honest than if you ghost them. But despite that being really frustrating to deal with, it's not just being ghosted that sucks when it comes to selling commissions. And this thing that I'm about to talk about is actually way more common, and it's something that I've had to deal with a stupid amount of times by now. And that's when people cancel just as payment is due. In some cases, the client is also very responsive up until this point. Then, when they are asked to pay, they just go, "Nah, actually, I don't want it," even though they might have given the all clear to the sketch already. What I think that this is, though, is that these people think that they can scam me out of the art somehow, and they live in the belief that if they say they can't pay when you've gotten to a certain point, you might just finish it anyway for them. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. If you don't pay, you won't get the picture. Just like, if I've already finished it and sent it to you, I'm not going to give you a refund. These people have actually single-handedly changed the way that I show work in progress photos to my clients. My friends being the one and only exception to this rule, because I know that I can trust them and that they're not going to try to fuck me over, especially those who have commissioned me before in the past. So what I do is that I zoom out really far inside too, and then I take my phone and I take a photo of my tablet screen, and that's what I send as a work in progress picture. It's enough to show that the sketch is indeed finished, but you can't do shit with it because the resolution is too ass to see what's going on properly. Then, after the payment has been sent and confirmed to be in my PayPal balance, then I will send the full sketch, fix up everything you might want to be fixed, and then I will work on finishing it up. I know that this is still not the smartest way to go about with things, but it is what works for me and causes me the least amount of stress out of the options that I feel that I have at the moment. The sketch is the hardest part for me, and it always has been that way. And I don't feel comfortable sitting on somebody's money when I don't know for sure how long I'm going to be stuck working with the sketch until I get something that the client wants and something that I would also be proud enough to give to them. So by waiting with the payment, I feel like I can actually take my time and make sure that it's something that I'm happy with and something that the client would be happy with as well. So if the client then thinks it takes too long to get the sketch done, they don't have to go through the process of actually asking me for a refund or feel like they have to force a chargeback or something like that, and I don't have to deal with that because they can just tell me, "Hey, I don't want this anymore, I want to cancel, no money has been exchanged, so we're good." It's that simple. This often comes back biting me in the ass though, but it is what I am more comfortable doing, as I know for a fact that I will be able to finish it up rather fast once I've gotten past the sketch. So I suppose that this sometimes gives people an illusion that they can just make me keep working on it indefinitely until I'm done without paying me. And I can do that for friends that I 100% trust, but not for randos. You won't get that out of me, bud. So, in short, don't ask an artist for a commission if you aren't going to pay them. Just find somebody who offers free art instead. I can guarantee that you will get further with that than try to scam artists who want payment. Because not only will you most likely fail to get said free art, you will waste yours and the artist's time, and eventually your name will be out there as an untrustworthy person, and no one will do business with you. And then there is the one that I actually do understand, but at the same time, I really don't. And I also don't at all like the way that they decided to go about it. And that's when the client had every intention to pay me, but then something happens and they know that they can no longer pay for it because they aren't financially stable enough to pay for the commission due to said problem occurring. Like, maybe they lost their job, had an accident, their car broke down, etc. Which, again, I would completely understand if they came to me with directly. Like, if you PM me mid-transaction and say, hey, sorry, this thing happened, and therefore I'm very tight on money right now, and I can no longer afford the commission. I completely understand, and there will be no drama. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I promise wholeheartedly that I will not be upset with you if you have to do this. And it's entirely up to you if you want to keep the commission with me and have me pick it back up again at a later point, depending on how far I got with it, or if you'd rather have me resell it. Honestly, I don't mind either way. Please take care of yourself first and foremost. But this becomes a problem when you've known for weeks that this happened and you need to use the money for something else. But instead of telling me, you let me keep working on the commission, and when I ask for payment so I can finish it, then you tell me what went down, and in turn wasting more of my time than if you'd just been upfront with me from the get-go. Please, just please tell me these things. You don't even need to tell me details. I promise though that I will understand and it's okay. Just communicate with me. Just keep me in the loop here. That's all I'm asking for. So, all in all, canceling is okay. But use common sense. If you cancel, you're not entitled to the commission anymore either. The sketch is not yours. Honestly, it's not even almost yours because you didn't provide your end of the deal. So please, just be upfront and don't ask for commissions that you know you can't pay for. The next thing I want to talk about is probably where most people will disagree with me, and as usual, disagreeing is totally fine. It doesn't bother me. But that's when people keep spamming and demanding work in progress pictures. Now, asking for work in progress pictures when you haven't received an update for an extended period of time is perfectly fine, and I do not fault you for that. Hell, if I've gone quiet for a long time without updating you, then I want you to ask me what's going on, because it should 100% be my responsibility to keep you posted if something happens that will cause a delay. However, there are actually some cases where this has gone too far, and that is what bothers me, and that's what I've chosen to talk about. And that is, first off, when you've been told directly, up front, that, hey, there are a couple people before you that I need to get to first, but I will let you know when I've started your commission. And you still feel it's necessary to instantly jump at me and go, where's my commission? When is it my turn? Did you start my commission yet? Hello, why haven't I received my commission? The day after ordering it. And yeah, I've had to deal with people like that. I had somebody who publicly commented on my wall on DeviantArt less than 24 hours after they had ordered it, when I had been very upfront with the fact that the 5 slots that I had opened were filled and that they were number 2 on the waiting list. They hadn't even paid me and were still acting like that. What I think people fail to realize is that art actually does take time. I don't finish 7 pictures in 24 hours, man. Unless it's very silly doodles that I put absolutely no effort into. These days, I don't even get that many commissions, and it's more like a 2 a year type of thing, since my following is next to non-existent. But even if you're the first in line, demanding that it's done within a 24 hours window, when I haven't specified myself that it will be, that's a bit, yeah, it's a bit much. And then, of course, we have the royalty. You know, the people that demand that their art should be taken priority, first and foremost. Nobody else is as important as them, and therefore, everybody else is just a simple peasant who should be pushed to the back burner, and who don't deserve to get their art until I have blessed the world with their commission specifically, because they are just that more important than everybody else, and honestly, fuck you, I'm not dealing with that. If you come to me and demand that I drop everybody else for you, you can take your business elsewhere. If you want to be treated as royalty, then go to somebody who's willing to do that. Here, in my shop, everybody is equal. Simple as is. I don't work with deadlines unless I myself have set those deadlines. If you don't like that, please go somewhere else. You're not getting special treatment, buddy. And so, we've actually reached the last part of this, which is something that I experienced a lot during my time that I was staff on Amino. And that is when somebody commissions someone and then instantly calls the artist a scammer because they stopped replying. No, I don't mean people going silent for months on end right after you send the payment. I mean when people go silent for 30 minutes to a day and the client instantly calls them a scammer, when in reality they either went to bed, went out for dinner, spent time with family, etc. You know, things that people do. I received a message from somebody who was angry from the word go. I asked what was going on and they said that they had been scammed. I had dealt with many scam cases before, so this was nothing new to me. It was basically routine at this point. I asked them for the usual details, such as who the person was, what the deal had been, proof of payment, as well as a screenshot of the conversation for proof that they had in fact been ignored, and for an extended period of time, so I had something to work with. Normally, those screenshots would show me a conversation that had been very active up until payment, before it began to taper off, and then end with several messages from the client with days, sometimes weeks in between, asking what's going on, but with no response from the artist. So that is what I was expecting here too. But no, that wasn't the case. Sure, the conversation had been active up until payment, and it did taper off, but the client had only sent one message that hadn't received a response. And rather than saying a full date, the last message just had a time on it. I was a bit confused about this, but I thought that maybe the screenshot could have been older just to give them the benefit of the doubt. I asked them when they had last heard from the artist, just to make sure, and they told me,
I don't fucking know, 30 minutes maybe, but they are for sure ignoring me.
I was confused, but I told them that there could be multiple reasons as to why they'd gone silent for 30 minutes, but they were having none of that. They started yelling at me, telling me I was protecting a scammer and taking their side, that I didn't care about the user base, and that it was my fault that they would now lose out on their money. I told them that that was not at all the case, not even a little bit, and if I was to PM the artist, I would have to give them 48 hours to respond anyway, so they'd be better off just waiting to see if they could get a reply within a few hours. They didn't like that either, and said that 48 hours was too long, and that I should demand a response right away or ban them. I explained that that's not how we operate, and we usually don't take action unless it's been at least a week of silence. Sometimes less, if the person is actively posting, chatting, or taking on new commissions while refusing to respond to their client who they have already received payment from. 10 minutes of yelling later, guess who responded? Yeah, the artist responded to the client. They had went to eat dinner and said they would start the commission the next day. Who could possibly have guessed that would have been the case? Now, I'm not trying to downplay the severity of being scammed, especially out of valuable items or money. I've been scammed before, and I have an entire video up talking about that experience. It sucks. Honestly, it really, really sucks. But when it has only been like a day, or not even that, there's no need for alarm bells to go off just yet. Give it some time. You will save yourself so much stress if you just calm down. The artist also has a life outside of social media. Hell, they may not even be responsive while working on the commission. Usually it's fine. If they go non-responsive for more than a week, though, send them another message and check. Then go from there. If they ghost you entirely, bring it up with PayPal. Always pay as goods and services, by the way, never friends and family. You can't dispute that, while goods and services gives you buyer protection. So if an artist tells you to pay with friends and family, don't do that, find somebody else to commission. Well, that was all I had for today actually. If you liked this video, feel free to check out some of my other videos, and if you like them, you're more than welcome to subscribe. If you want to see more of my art, my socials are down in the description. But until our paths cross next time, take care of yourself. Drink water, wash your hands, be kind, and I will see you in the next one. Hejdå!